Mirasee.
I'm Michelle Kopper, and you're listening to Making It. I run the Inspired Voice Business Coaching. We help coaches, healers, speakers to support and serve others through a thriving business they love, be seen, give voice to their vision, and create a profitable, prosperous business. I grew up with my mom, who did her best by me and also married 3 times before I was 5. She was very young, and we kind of grew up together. There were step siblings, and we lived in 14 different places before I was 8. But I had stable love and chaos. I was the only child of an only child, and I was super smart. So I made a bargain with myself at a very early age that I would have no needs and I would be self-contained. I skipped grades in schools and I got A's on all the worksheets and I, checked all the boxes and I strove to prove my own worthiness, to feel worthy. I was the good girl on the outside and the bad girl on the inside. Graduated high school early, went to college, moved to New York, very much like I'm going to do it all on my own. It's up to me. That, I think, still lives in my body in some ways, like the hustle and the not having needs and not asking for help. I was a creative professional since I was 17. I had worked in the theater professionally from the age of 17, went to New York City and considered myself a professional performing artist. But I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur. And today I would say that if I had, I would have had even more success and flow because I didn't think of it as a business. I had a lot of resistance. And so I embarked on this creative journey of finding and freeing my voice and self-expression. But I didn't know that when I was 17. So I thought of myself as a creative performer. I had side jobs, side gigs, and I made my living doing TV commercials for a while. I did some small parts on movies, but I was always called to sing. I had a big experience early in my early 20s that really kind of like called my voice out of me. I realized that feeling wasn't going to leave me alone. I wanted to make it through that calling. It was very connected for me. I wanted it all. And at the time, that meant making my living as a professional performer. And I did for a time, but that wasn't the end of the calling. I've gone through the 5 stages of grief with my calling. It'd be my compass, right? It's my North Star. It can also be my conundrum. I can resist it. I can think I'm not good enough. It's not happening in time. Is it real? Should I do it? So for me, the journey of creative professional to entrepreneur started when I started thinking of the business. And I owned performance studios, both in New York City for a long time and then here in Portland, Oregon. Like I had a business, but I wasn't thinking of myself as an entrepreneur. And the idea of thinking of myself as some kind of like visionary thought leader felt really dangerous. And so I'm going to say that I became an entrepreneur when I decided to grow a global $1 million plus coaching business, right? Because I wanted to prosper. I knew it wasn't supposed to be hard. And I really wanted a thriving business that was going to reach and serve and uplift more people than I would ever know. Still growing that, still working on that. I had a really low bottom spiritual experience with drugs and alcohol and a deep gut-wrenching surrender. And for the first time realized that I was absolutely driven by insecurity and fear. I had this bravado that let me do things, but I had equal measures of just really not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, and that I was holding myself back and medicating it because this desire was so big, but my fear had me in chains. And so when that medication didn't work anymore, I had a felt sense of some kind of grace infuse my being, and really in a very few short weeks started to see the whole world differently. Whole songs started to drop into my head, and I heard a voice say, if you don't share them, no one will ever hear them, and they're meant for more than you. I could feel it in my body, but there was still that doubt. So that led me to admit to somebody that I had a song, sing it for them. And very quickly, many songs came and I performed, but I was traumatized. So I did some work and I had some very big spiritual experiences on retreat where my voice just came up and out of me. It was wild, but tangible, not something I could have created myself because of what I had been through. And I've always been a teacher. I've always taught what I learn right away. So as I was going through that process with my mentor at Carnegie Hall Studios, she brought me onto her faculty. I knew I could really sing, but when the rubber met the road, I would choke. My body would betray me. And I've since learned that there are so many people who feel called to this big thing. And when the rubber meets the road, it literally feels like you could be killed. So I'm very good at facilitating that. I started teaching and facilitating right away, but always with this, but I want that over there dream. Part of that awakening in my early 20s was that I realized not only could I ask for help and that there might be help, both human and greater, but that I had to ask for help and that was an act of humility. And I had to allow that in order to receive, right? I had to ask because I was just like, I'll have no needs. So I didn't have anything, right? Like you have to ask, you have to want it. And I have a whole dance around letting myself want it. And, it's been a journey to trust the self, the universe, my own inner guidance, the world. I don't have to trust as much, right? Because the world is chaos, but to have the courage, the conviction into my own calling and whatever higher power there is for me. It comes down to not being afraid of what other people think. It comes down to going all in, radical self-trust, self-acceptance, and action. The one thing that background gave me, I'll figure this out, right? So I do have this edge of daring I play with. I think I'm good at helping others find that messy place just past their comfort zone. I jumped into online coaching business and did all the things, the programs, the products, the launches, and the JVs and I just like, okay, I'm going to do it all, get all those gold stars right away so that I can have this revenue. And I learned a lot. I had some revenue, but I was in that same hustle to prove I could do it. All along, I've had these surrenders where I'm like, I got to chill out. What do I really want to do? Listening to my inner guidance has been the anchor. Who can listen to our own inner guidance, right? We're supposed to do it this way. And they told me this, and I was learning. Last summer, I did the craziest thing in terms of I had really applied myself, focused, built, revenue model and a client enrollment path that was working. It felt squeezed. It was compressed. And instead of trying to figure it out and taking a bunch of action and revamping everything or launching something new, I just paused. And I had this idea. One of the ways I serve clients is in my Dare to Soar experience, my high-level mastermind for women CEO leaders who want to keep growing and be big. So I did this brave thing and I was like, all right, universe, show me. I went in the garden and breathed and just let myself feel bigger and say, what do I really want? I had gotten clever and smart and success, but I wasn't allowing all of me, which is what I help my clients do, to express all of them. That was the music. So last summer, I started to intentionally take action to allow inspiration and people to help me bring the music back in as a core part of my brand and my offering, my gift, how I serve and uplift other people. Just because you're new at an online thing or running a technology does not mean that you don't bring this innate, potent, powerful gift. And it takes some audacity. It takes some really letting go of what other people think, but to step in and claim your leadership voice, your space in the world through service, if that's what you're here to do, through I'm growing this business to make money and help the world. So getting lost in the small stuff is one thing I see people struggling with. I see people, holding themselves back for fear of what other people think. And That's very real. I don't minimize that. It does feel like in the cancel culture, everybody's going to find out and hate us. I've had that experience in my childhood. The whole town did turn against me. It feels bad and scary, but nobody died. Stepping into leadership, running a business instead of just getting clients, needing enough to get by is another mistake that I see people make. And I made myself. I'm just grateful for what I have. I just need enough to get by. I'm not in this for the money. I just want a few clients and this nice little life. And I have made that bargain. I made it with my performance career. I made it over and over again. I just want a good enough life. And it's excruciating. My world got smaller. My debt got bigger. In my early 20s, making it was tied to other people's approval. Getting the gig, being a famous Broadway star, being a famous rock star. It was tied to proving my worthiness. I was told I could be a world-class vocalist, but all I heard was could be. It was very tied to external results and some sense of, fame, I think. Although I was terrified of it, I realized later. If people love me, then I'll love me. As a performing artist, you don't get the job if you go in the room and try and be who you think they want you to be, because that's all fiction. And they don't know what they want anyway. My biggest successes came when I showed up as me, and that took courage. So, when I create revenue or money, when I make money doing what I love, there's a tangible reality to it. I don't need the money to be good at what I do, but that's tied together for me. So when I was still performing, getting people into the room to hear the songs was a success. Having another opportunity was a success, but it's easy in performance life to only feel successful with the next show or the next gig. That didn't last very long. It's very temporary. I went away from external success, and I had a successful marriage, children, and life. And then it became really grounded in, sharing the message. If even one person is uplifted by something that I share or a conversation we have, then my work is done. I am full. I am satisfied. And that's been a huge tool of permission. And so today for me, success is ongoing expansion, loving and savoring every bit of the puzzle that I have, and the successes, the opportunities, the stuff I'm making, the people I'm talking to. Success is in the moment. And in my success for me is that I'm always on an expansion journey. So for me today, I'll say success is a practice, and prosperity happens with that. And as I expand into it, it grows. What often isn't asked around making it is, how do you unlock the courage, right? We don't acknowledge the vulnerability, the courage it takes, and what I call radical self-trust. Everything that exists in the world was thought of. It started as an idea. Finding a balance is overrated. Letting that big vision guide you and having wild, carefree abandon to run toward it. 8 years ago, I was in that hustle and grind, not getting results. It felt so close. And I was like, I cannot work harder or do more. I was at that edge when I would start to sing and cry. This song dropped into my head. God, hear me. Help me raise my voice. Help me make a choice to share the gift I bring. God, hear me and fill my words with power. In any dark hour, I will sing. Let me be a champion for the silent, and help me heal the fears that keep me small. God hears me and fills my words with power. In any dark hour, I will sing. I'm Michelle Kopper, and you've been listening to Making It. You can find me at Michelle Kopper with a K.com, MICHELLEKOPPER. And we have a gift today called the Frequency Factor Calibration Experience, designed to help you find your yes. It's a practice you can do to make better decisions faster. And you'll find the links to my website and this gift in the show notes.